In the midst of the dead puck era, the NHL's 2001 to 2002 season was a battleground of tight defense and elite goaltending. But amid low-scoring games and inflated save percentages, one story stood out: the closest Hart Trophy race in history. The three finalists were Jarome Iginla in his breakout season, the legendary Patrick Waugh, and rising star José Théodore. Leading up to the 2002 NHL awards ceremony, all eyes were on Iginla, whose offensive performance during the regular season was nothing short of era-defying. He was the clear favorite, the one everyone expected to take home hockey's most coveted individual honor. But awards night delivered an unexpected twist. There on the stage stood the Great One himself, ready to announce a result that would ignite controversy in the hockey world. With a dramatic pause, he declared that the Hart Trophy winner was José Théodore, sending shockwaves through the audience and viewers at home. Not long after Theodore accepted his award, the NHL revealed that he and Iginla had tied in votes, a first in the history of the Hart Trophy. The tiebreaker favored Theodore due to his higher count of first-place votes. But there was more to the story, a secret that when revealed, poured gasoline on the controversy. A single voter had shockingly omitted Iginla from his ballot entirely. It's time for a deep dive into the 2001 to 2002 Hart Trophy race, the closest in NHL history. Jarome Iginla emerged as a beacon of offensive prowess during the offensively starved 2001 to 2002 season. The Flames winger, already known as a force on the ice, transformed into the league's leading scorer, amassing 52 goals and 44 assists for a total of 96 points. It wasn't just a personal best for Iginla, it was a historic achievement, leading the league in both goals and points, a feat so rare that only Alex Ovechkin and Connor McDavid have done it since. Iginla's numbers towered above his peers. He outscored Marcus Naslund by 6 points and Todd Bertuzzi by 11 points, who finished second and third in league scoring respectively. His goal tally was 11 goals ahead of the next highest scorers, with Bill Guerin, Glenn Murray, and Matt Sundin all tying at 41. So Iggy easily won the Maurice "Rocket" Richard Trophy as the NHL's leading goal scorer, and while 2/3 of the Canucks' top line challenged him for the Art Ross, that race wasn't particularly close either. That made Iggy the first player to win both the Art Ross and Rocket Richard since the Richard Trophy was introduced in 1998, and he won both in the same season. In goal, Patrick Waugh and José Théodore were the standouts among a group of goalies with elite numbers. Prior to the 2004 to 2005 lockout, oversized goalie gear, clutching and grabbing, and smothering defensive systems made it really hard to score. The NHL's average goals per game had been on a downward trend since the late 90s, but in 2001 to 2002, it plummeted to a 40-year low of 5.24. Over half the league's starting goalies boasted a goals against average of 2.50 or below, with an impressive 11 of them dipping under 2.25. Patrick Waugh, at 36, posted career-best numbers, with a league-leading goals against average of 1.94, a save percentage of .925, and 9 shutouts, leaving a legacy of excellence in what would be one of his final seasons. At the other end of the ice, 25-year-old José Théodore, in just his second full season as the Habs starter, dazzled everyone with a league-leading .931 save percentage and a 2.11 goals against average. As the 2001 to 2002 NHL regular season drew to a close, the fates of the three Hart finalists diverged. Patrick Waugh's Avalanche were a powerhouse, finishing third in the league with 99 points. José Théodore's Habs managed to sneak into the playoffs, securing the 8th and final spot in the East. But for Jarome Iginla, his Flames struggled to a 32, 35, and 15 record and missed the playoffs altogether. In the playoffs, which aren't meant to be taken into consideration for Hart Trophy voting, Theodore led the Habs to a first-round upset against the top-seeded Bruins. Their run ended in round 2, where they fell to the up-and-coming Hurricanes. On the other side of the continent, Waugh's Avalanche made it to the Western Conference Finals, where they fell to the Red Wings in 7 games. The Wings went on to defeat the Hurricanes in 5 games in the finals, and just 7 days later, the hockey world gathered in Toronto for the 2002 NHL Awards. On June 20th, 2002, the NHL's elite gathered in Toronto's John Bassett Theatre for the NHL Awards. The night would go down in history because for the first time ever, there were ties in the voting for 2 major awards, and both involved José Théodore, one for the Hart Trophy and another for the Vezina. Early in the show, Vladislav Tretiak and Paul Henderson, rivals from the 1972 Summit Series, announced Theodore as the Vezina winner for Best Goalie. At the end of the show, Wayne Gretzky called Theodore back to the stage, this time to accept the Hart Trophy. The Habs goalie won on the tiebreaker again, this time over Iginla, thanks to 3 more first place votes. Even though they missed out on the Hart, Iginla and Waugh didn't leave empty-handed. Waugh, along with his Avalanche teammates, took home the William Jennings Trophy for the fewest goals against, and he was named the goalie on the NHL's first All-Star team, over Theodore. While Iginla, at just 24, took home the Art Ross as the league's top point producer, the Rocket Richard as the league's top goal scorer, and the Lester B. Pearson Award as the league's most valuable player as voted on by his fellow players. Interestingly, Theodore wasn't even a finalist for the Pearson Award, with the players deciding that Waugh and Coyotes goalie Sean Burke were the second and third most valuable players that season, behind Iginla. The tie in the 2002 Hart race was compelling enough, but the controversy reached a fever pitch when the voting details were revealed. The Hart Trophy is decided by the Professional Hockey Writers Association, where each member ranks their top 5 players, awarding points on a 10-7-5-3-1 scale. In 2002, 62 writers cast their votes. Both Iginla and Theodore ended up with 434 points, but Theodore edged out Iggy with 26 first-place votes compared to Iginla's 23. But there was a twist. Iginla was completely omitted from one voter's ballot. Whispers and rumors soon swirled, suggesting that a writer from Quebec, perhaps biased towards the local favorite, might have penned that controversial ballot. Had Iginla been ranked even 5th on that ballot, he would have won the Hart Trophy. Nowadays, the Professional Hockey Writers Association makes all ballots public, to prevent such mysteries or controversies. But back then in 2002, anonymity allowed for bold and even questionable decisions. For a writer to leave Iginla off his ballot, the player who led the league in goals and points, was an absurdity. In 2001 to 2002, Jarome Iginla had a season for the ages. Playing in all 82 games, he registered 52 goals and 44 assists, and even dropped the gloves 3 times. Most impressively, he achieved these numbers on a Flames team that was, let's face it, not very good. Aside from Iginla and his line mates, the Flames roster could have been confused with an expansion team from the late 90s or early 2000s. Iggy center Craig Conroy managed 75 points, and his left winger Dean McCammon chipped in with 51. But from there, things dropped off dramatically. Derek Morris and Mark Savard were the only other Flames to break the 30-point barrier, with 34 and 33 points respectively. The Flames' total goal count for the season was just 201, with Iginla's 52 goals making up a staggering 26% of that. And when you factor in assists, he was involved in nearly half, 47.8% to be exact, of the goals the Flames scored for the entire season. Remove his contributions, especially his goals, from the Flames' already weak lineup, and you're looking at a historically poor team. He outscored the rest of the league by a significant margin, during a season where scoring was at a historic low. His efforts gave a terrible Flames team the chance to win every night, evidenced by their 12 ties and 3 overtime losses. The guys he played against recognized his dominance, awarding him the Lester B. Pearson Award for League MVP as voted on by the players. But despite his dominance, his case for the Hart Trophy was complicated by the Flames' poor regular season performance. When the time came to decide, some voters held missing the playoffs against Iggy, despite the trophy being an award for individual regular season success. Which brings up one of the oldest debates in sports. Should a player's MVP credentials be influenced by how their team fares in the standings? Unfortunately for Iginla, this viewpoint played a role in missing out on the Hart. This video isn't meant to diminish José Théodore's incredible season. As Iginla himself noted after the awards, you really have to take your hat off to José Théodore. Théodore had a standout season, posting elite numbers, especially in the final weeks, where he went 8-1, allowing just 12 goals to propel the Habs into the playoffs as the 8th seed. But the question remains, did he deserve to win the Hart? His record of 30-24-10 didn't scream MVP, but he led the league with a .931 save percentage, 45.9 goals saved above expected, and 17.4 goalie point shares, and also made more saves than any other goalie in the league. So based solely on his stats, he really did have a pretty strong case for the Hart. Theodore also won the Vezina, which was also somewhat controversial, as he edged out the 36-year-old Patrick Waugh in what many felt was the best season of the Hall of Fame goalie's illustrious career. Waugh led the league in shutouts with 9 and goals against average with a tidy 1.94. He also had a slightly better record, going 32-23-8 compared to Theodore, who went 30-24-10. But as you can see, Theodore easily cleared Waugh in save percentage, goals saved above expected, and goalie point shares. Plus, the narrative of Theodore carrying his team down the stretch was likely the deciding factor for many voters, which I think is a valid consideration for a goalie award. But I don't think the narrative-based argument holds up as well against Iginla, because it goes without saying that goalies have an outsized impact on a team's success. A skater can put up multiple points at night, but if his team can't keep the puck out of their own net when he's not on the ice, there's nothing he can do about it. Plus, Iginla wasn't surrounded by elite offensive talent, making the fact that he led the league in goals and points even more impressive. There's also an ongoing debate about whether goalies should even win the Hart. The voters hardly ever choose a goalie, with just 7 different goalies taking home the Hart in the 100-year history of the award, including just 2 in the 21st century, who both happen to play for the Habs, with Theodore winning in 2002 and Carey Price winning in 2015. So in a year that it was harder to score goals than ever, it's a bit surprising that the voters selected a goalie over a player who ran away with the scoring race despite playing for a team that scored the 9th fewest goals in the league. It's also interesting that Theodore didn't crack the top 3 in the players' vote, suggesting that while the writers were swayed by the playoff push narrative, his peers had different priorities. There's no doubt that José Théodore was key to the Canadiens clinching a playoff spot in the 01-02 season, but if they hadn't made it, which was a close call, there's a good chance he wouldn't have been in the Hart Trophy discussion at all. Even with the Habs making the playoffs, Iginla should have been the Hart winner, because he was undeniably the league's best and most valuable player that year. Theodore's save percentage was impressive throughout the season, but up until the final stretch, he had just 22 wins in 55 games. His team barely made the playoffs with just 87 points in a comparatively weaker Eastern Conference, as it took 94 points to make the dance in the West. I think it also helped that the Habs upset the Bruins in the first round. The postseason buzz in Montreal was electric, which further boosted Theodore's profile, even if the playoffs aren't technically factored into Hart voting. So in the end, the dramatic nature of the Canadiens' playoff qualification, coupled with one egregiously omitted ballot, ultimately cost Iginla the Hart. Today, Iginla's 2001-2002 season is remembered as an era-defying performance on a struggling team during the dead puck era, and there's lots of fans out there who remain adamant that Iginla was robbed. But the absence of the Hart Trophy from Iginla's trophy case didn't tarnish his legacy. The first ballot Hall of Famer retired with an impressive tally of 625 goals, 675 assists, and 1,300 points. He's remembered as one of hockey's most respected leaders, celebrated for his consistent 30-goal seasons, the assist at the 2010 Olympics, and the shift during the 2004 Stanley Cup Finals. Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit the like button, and please share your thoughts in the comment section. I do read all the comments and love hearing your opinions. My goal is to build a community of hockey history enthusiasts, and every new subscriber makes a difference in my ability to keep making content. I'd love for you to subscribe to help grow the community and allow me to continue creating. That's all for today. We'll see you in the next video.